Thanks, Karen Corla. I want to start by quoting from James Geoghegan, the Fine Gael by-election candidate in Dublin Bay South. The 28th of May, he said in a press statement, "I am alarmed by the revelation today that tenants in the rental accommodation sector could potentially face a double rent increase of 8% when measures providing for a temporary ban on evictions and a rent freeze that were implemented during COVID-19 are due to end in July." He didn't mention, of course, that it's his government that is responsible for the legal situation where the 8% was posed for people. He also didn't mention that the revelation came from people before profit. But in any case, he finished with a call on the minister. He said, "The minister must resolve this loophole as a matter of urgency and ensure that renters do not face a double increase when the emergency legislation is lifted in July." Well, the minister has not resolved this situation. The minister has resolved the situation for 500 out of the hundreds of thousands of private rented tenants in this country. And for those 500, they get to avoid the 8% rent increase now, and they get up to a 12% rent increase come next January. And for every single other person who is affected by this, the hundreds of thousands of people, they can continue to face an 8% rent increase, and the government and the minister are doing absolutely nothing about it. I raised this at Leaders' Questions a month ago with the Taoiseach. I gave a number of very real-world examples of Jane, for example, who lives in a very ordinary house in Tallaght and whose rent is going up €160 a month, almost an 8% increase to over €2,000. I gave the example of Philip in Island Bridge, who faced over €100 increase a month, an increase of 7.7%. I gave the example of Samantha in Dinleary, who was actually facing a 10% increase. In response, in Leaders' Questions, in the Dáil, the Taoiseach said he, referring to the minister who I think is now gone, is going to bring in legislation quickly to deal with the 8% increase with regard to those who are most vulnerable and most at risk. He will respond in that manner. Again, the Taoiseach has not delivered, the government have not delivered in terms of what they committed to do. They under pressure, they accepted there's a crisis here. You're a Fine Gael by-election candidate, all of a sudden concerned about the treatment of renters, saying they're going to do something about it, but then simply doing absolutely nothing. It's just pretense to say, well, we're doing something for 500 people. You are leaving renters at the mercy of landlords who are only interested in one thing, which is maximising their return. And the result will be an increasing tsunami of homelessness from now on till the end of the year. And that is very much definitely on the government. Why does the government act in such a way? It's not an accident. It's because we have in this state government by landlord for landlords. 1 in 3 Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil TDs are landlords, and those who aren't landlords nonetheless represent the landlord class in this country extremely effectively, because the policies are always designed to incentivise their investment in the sector, to maximise their return, to say that they're allowed to get an 8% increase, an increase of rent of 8% or 12% next year, guaranteeing them increases of 4% every single year, year on year. If they miss one, they get it again. Pro-landlord policies consistently, and when we say, well, there should be rent freeze, or better than a rent freeze, there should be rent controls to bring rents down to actually affordable levels, the government says all of a sudden, oh no, you can't do that, it's unconstitutional. We need to kick this government out. Those who are lucky enough to be in Dublin Bay South should take the opportunity to vote for the renters candidate, which is People Before Profit's Bridget Purcell, and in so doing also send a signal to Sinn Féin and others that we don't want any parties that are going to bring Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael back into power through the back door in terms of a coalition. We need a left government that will stand up to the big corporate landlords and the developers and take the side of ordinary working class people and renters.